So this is what's working today. Okay. I sure hope I didn't turn it off by. Okay. All right. Who has a question this morning? It's kind of more like a Bible study, I guess, than a sermon. Oh, yeah. Conrad.
On the word keep.
Yeah.
Can keep, at least in English, can also mean to protect something or guard it. Did you look at that alternative?
I did not. It sounds like you have.
I don't know, I just looked it up in Strong's, and it said,
We're going to ban the electronic Bibles. No, go ahead. Please keep going here. What's it found?
I looked it up in Strong's, and it said to protect or guard. It didn't give keep as in obey as a possible meaning, but Strong's isn't really the most extensive.
Right. He says the NAS. Yeah. If you're able to, how skillful you are with my fat fingers, I have trouble looking stuff up on my iPhone 5. I'm way back there. If you love me, keep my commandments. I wonder if it's the same word. Maybe you can find that out for me, Conrad.
Where is that? What's the reference to that?
I don't know. I do not know the reference to that. But I know it's in 1 John. We know we love him. We keep his commandments. And so that's from John also. So I don't know if John's the one writing in Revelation also. So I don't know if it's the same word there or not. But anyway, while we're interacting with our devices, and we'll wait for that. Yes.
The other use of that in Revelation 22, verse 7, I think that kind of helps to clarify the keeping, because it says, "Blessed is he that keepeth the saying and of the prophecy of this book." And again, that I understand it's in English, but that type of phraseology would lend to the idea of obeying or
obedience.
Yeah. And again, that's the same writer using it here, I think, in all different contexts.
Yeah. Same writer, same book in this case.
Yeah. That's the same word.
Same word? Okay. Good. That's why we do this. That's good. Thank you. Yeah.
I was just thinking that part of the blessing of the book that we know from history looking back is that this was a predicted book, that God was revealing to them what was going to happen. And if they were paying attention and listening, they were going to make choices of what to do to protect themselves during this time. And they were able to flee the judgment because God was telling them this is going to happen, that's going to happen, and that's going to happen. So I think the blessing would be because he was preparing them for what was going to happen, kind of in the way that Noah was trying to tell that generation, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. They didn't listen. But in this time in history, this group, these Christians were preparing themselves for that judgment, that local judgment that was going to happen. And that would be the blessing by keeping what was in the book.
You bring up Noah. Noah's comment that the flood is coming from judgment from God, was that a statement of blessing? Even to the people? And the answer is yes, it was. They didn't heed it, but it was still a blessing. No doubt about it. They might have thought of it as a blessing when the rain started to come down. They're starting climbing higher and higher, and they're not in the boat. No doubt. Thank you. Yes, Jeremiah.
Just a more of a comment maybe, but your original story about your Bible college.
Yes.
And just your thinking about, I guess, the kind of the breakdown of the faith there in that town. And just wondering, I guess, if our faith or different understanding of our faith, I guess, would possibly lead to that? Is that what you were?
That's what I'm definitely wondering aloud and alluding to and implying yes.
So then I guess just Bridget and I have been talking, you know, like, so now we live in Coatesville, Pennsylvania, you know, so how can our family take little steps to prevent that from happening in Coatesville, you know, like on a practical level?
Yeah.
So we've just been having those discussions in our family.
Sure.
So it'll always be good to just keep that in around here.
Absolutely.
As a church family.
Always talk about that. I mean, I tell you, I think about this when Tim Yarborough was here. One of the things I'm thinking, you know, this church, for example, we come from different areas, and a lot of the ministry that happens will come probably from the families in the church, perhaps more so than the body itself, perhaps. But it's something that I think about a lot. When Tim was here, he talked about Tim Yarborough. He talked about ministering to families of people who are in jail. I never really thought of this. He said most of the time we think of the ministry to the person who's incarcerated. He's saying, but you look at the families of the folks, and they're in dire straits. They're poor, and no one's paying attention to them. They're being rejected socially because they have a family member, a father, who's being rejected there. And so the question that I've been thinking about is what can we do right here? Now, one of the things that's becoming bigger and bigger for every godly family out there is what's a family supposed to look like? And just by living that is helpful. This is what a family looks like. This is what a father and a husband looks like. Those folks in Africa whose husbands beat their wives, that's all they've known. They've not known anything else. Their father beat their mother. Now they beat their wives. And their daughters are going to get beaten by their husbands. It's just the way it works. I had some of you met Godfrey, and he spoke here. One of the things he told me was, because I was questioning I was really questioning how valuable it is for me to travel to South Africa. You know, like, again, I mentioned that before. And he said, you know, they just don't have examples of husbands and fathers who are doing what they're supposed to do. They just don't have them where they are. And in Coatesville, as you know, that example of what a husband and father is supposed to be is becoming less and less. It's becoming more and more of a, shall I say, of a rare thing. Now, that's not the only thing, but that certainly is one thing. But go ahead. Oh, okay.
I thought you were referring to me.
Well, yeah, I am referring to you. Yeah, I mean, I'm saying, I absolutely am. I mean,
Bad example of
no.
If he's going to be an example, the community has to see his example.
That's kind of what Bridget and I, so like just getting out, you know, like it's so easy just to stay home, you know, big family, you know, but just getting out in the community and just trying to meet people and get people and interacting. I mean, it might sound like a simple thing, but it just, that's kind of what we were
Well, Coatesville has events, right, that are public.
Right.
And this is the hard thing for all of us. This is hard because we do what we have to do. We do what's we all do that. What's priority? And yeah, all of us here will have to begin to make it a priority to get outside of the things that we have to do. It won't get done if it's not a priority. And you have to start making a priority. Maybe you only do it twice a year. Seriously. I'm serious here. But it's 2 more times a year than you're getting out now. And that has to become a priority for every one of us here. I know it's not because it's like, well, you go home, you know, done working, you know, and it's not a priority. But we must make it a priority. Yes, Seth.
I mean, to that though, I'd encourage Jeremiah that you're already starting with the right question. And that's the point Joel's making. How do we prevent this from happening? You're actually saying you believe you can prevent it. That's different than the majority church in the West that says, there's nothing you can do. You can't stop it. It's just gonna be bad, there's nothing you can do about it. You just try to be faithful in your own family, don't worry about anybody else. That's the difference. You're already starting with a victorious question. How do we keep this from happening? That's right there, I think, the underlying issue. And going out in the community is doing exactly what Joel's talking about. The community doesn't realize there's a different way to parent. There's a different way to love your wife. There's a different way to serve your community until we as Christians are out there showing them, wow, there is a different way. They have nothing to compare it to up to that point, except all the other pagans around them doing the same thing they're doing. So, I mean, I'd encourage you to say, well, A, you already asked the victorious question. How do we keep it from happening? Implying that you can keep it from happening. And then B, being in and among the pagans automatically draws a distinction. At least it's supposed to. So, I mean, you're already doing it. Now it's a question of, as you walk in that, what are the other opportunities God brings in your guys' life to continue to exercise those two victorious-minded things? That's what I'd encourage you. Thank you.
Good interaction here. Good. Yes.
Kind of another example that Tim Yarbrough, I don't even remember, he did not tell me this, and I don't know if his wife did. He has a ministry of widows in his county, where they go do what needs to be done. If it's change a light bulb or, fix a leak or whatever, he's got a little team of men, and I think, what if a family would do that to the widows in there? Think word would spread about that, because that doesn't happen.
Yeah, like maybe say, if you're a family, you can't cover the whole county, but maybe you could cover a township or something like that. And word would get around that, hey,
Even in just your own little neighborhood.
Yeah.
Word will get around.
Yeah. Especially if they see, and this is just not done anymore. To see a father, let's say, working with his children together, that's not done. It's now seen as a point of honor to. It's a. I don't watch much TV at all, but from what I can tell, it's like an officially grown-up moment when the budding 13-year-old slams the door on his single parent and says, "I hate you." It's like now we're all grown up, and they hate each other. And now this is like the coming of age, and the idea that the families work together, that is just leaving us. It's leaving the culture entirely. And for people to see that would be different. Indeed, would be very, very different. Good stuff here this morning. See, I told you Revelation's a relevant book. Yes?
Speaking of our reunion yesterday where that little church, maybe they could have had the attitude, okay, God's bringing the Muslims here, then we're going in those apartment houses. And we're going to canvass those apartment houses, and we're going to win Muslims now for Christ, and we're going to win Hindus for Christ. I think we got the message from him, like this is, he felt like these mammoth, religions were now trumping their territory. So
that's right. It was a message of survival,
yeah,
not a message of conquest.
It was, yeah.
We've been talking about this at this church for years now. And then we saw it in action. We did. Absolutely. Well, thank you for your kind attention here this morning.